Hi, folks. A little late this week on the picks. The reason is my brother Dennis, my oldest brother Dennis, has been ill this week. He has battled illnesses really off and on for about 15 years, and they've gotten progressively worse. He's in intensive care right now. There's heart issues, there's infections. This is maybe the worst situation he's been in, other than when he had the quadruple bypass a few years ago. So if you're the praying kind, if you'd like to offer your prayers up to my brother Dennis, I'd appreciate it, and so would he and the family as well. All right. I appreciate that. Now let's give you some picks. Utah, Oregon State. I'm going to go with Oregon State. They are 4-point underdogs. I think they may win this outright and certainly cover that 4-point spread. Cincinnati and BYU. It's a pick'em game. So I really can't lose that one, but I can't win that one. So we'll skip it. Penn State, Northwestern. Take Penn State, but they're favored by 26.5. So if that means they would win 36-10, 37-10, they'd cover. I don't know. I don't think Penn State's going to cover. They're going to win, but they're not going to cover. So take Northwestern in the points. USC, Colorado. USC is favored by 21.5. I would take the Trojans, the covered there. Until that Travis Hunter gets back for Colorado, I think they're not running on all cylinders. Florida and Kentucky. Actually, Kentucky is a 1-point favorite. Again, it's so close. Whoever the home team is, and I can't tell by looking at what I'm looking at here, whoever the home team is, I believe wins. If it's Florida, it's Florida. If it's Kentucky, it's Kentucky. Texas A&M, Arkansas. Texas A&M favored by 6. They're 3-1. The Razorbacks 2-2. Gosh, I just don't trust Texas A&M. Do you? Let's go with Arkansas. Minnesota and the Louisiana Raging Cajuns. Minnesota has disappointed me so much. I'm so happy that I'm not putting money down on my beginning of the season picks because I had Minnesota winning the Big Ten West. They may rebound. It is a home game. They're 2-2. Louisiana is 3-1. Minnesota has 11-point favorites. Minnesota may win, but I don't think they're going to cover. They've just not shown me that they're good enough to beat Louisiana by that many points. We'll skip that one. Clemson and Syracuse. Clemson's been a weird team. They're 2-2. They're 1-3 in the ACC. Syracuse is 4-0. Clemson is favored by a touchdown. So go figure. I'm going to go with Syracuse. That just doesn't seem right. Doesn't seem right. Go with Syracuse. 5-0. Let's see. Let's find something good here. Virginia and Boston College. Not my idea of good. Not really. Miami and Kent State are two of the better MAC teams this year. Miami is actually 3-1. Kent State is 1-3, but a couple of their losses have been to, pretty good teams. Miami is a 14.5-point favorite. Yeah, I'm going to take Kent State. I'm not sure if Kent State's going to win. I think they might, but I don't think they're going to lose by 14.5 points. Let's do Georgia-Auburn. Boy, in years past, this would have been something else. Now, it's a pretty good record. It's 3-1 Auburn. I hate that name. Auburn. She has auburn hair. You got to go Auburn. Like the doctor saying, Auburn. 3-1. Georgia 4-0. Georgia, 14.5-point favorites. Georgia just has not been great. I would bet on Auburn to not lose by that many points. Kind of going out on the limb there. Michigan, Nebraska. This is at Nebraska. Michigan has not been impressive so far. They haven't been unimpressive, but they haven't been impressive. This season's going a lot like their last several seasons, the last two seasons, where they just seem to be, in second or third gear. Michigan's favored by 18. If they get some turnovers by Nebraska, I think they would win by that or more. If Nebraska doesn't turn the ball over, and this new quarterback hasn't been doing that, if Nebraska doesn't turn the ball over, this is going to be a game that's still alive into the fourth quarter. Michigan wins probably. I think Nebraska definitely covers the 18 with about that much chance of upsetting the Weasels. Could be my upset special. Michigan hasn't been on the road. Nebraska plays better at home. Matt Rule's a good coach. That might be my upset special. So if they do beat Michigan, you heard it here first. Kansas and Texas. Kansas is 4-0, so is Texas. That's a pretty good matchup. Texas is favored by 16. I would go with Kansas to cover that spread. Not necessarily to win, but to not lose by that 16-point margin. Indiana, Maryland. Maryland should win this one. It's at Maryland. They're favored by 14.5. Indiana has not been good. They've not been terrible, but they've not been good. Maryland's due for one of those flat games. They've gotten behind several times this year, 14 points, and then dug their way out and then pulled away. Well, that's a tough one. Maryland's got a lot of momentum. Indiana, I'm glad I don't actually put money down because Indiana is just the kind of team to ruin this bet if you're going with Maryland. Maryland to win, and they're going to cover. But I'm not confident on that one at all. The Fighting Illini versus Purdue, 1-3, 2-2. Two of the most disappointing teams in the Big Ten this year, especially on the West side. I really thought Illinois, along with Minnesota, would be better, and they're not. The West is the mild West. It's horrible. Wisconsin is the closest thing to a decent team in the West, and they got beat badly by Washington State, who is pretty good, I must admit, but goodness gracious. Lord. It's a pick'em game anyway, so, whoever the home team is, I would go with them. And again, it's not showing me who's the home team here. We'll skip that one. Skip that one. We'll skip that one. And 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 that one. And that one. And that one. Here's one. Missouri and Vanderbilt. Missouri is 4-0. Vandy is 2-3. The Tigers are 2 touchdown favorites. Take Missouri to win. But again, that one wouldn't surprise me for Vandy to lose, but by less than 14. I'm going with Missouri. You got to have some conviction, Doug. I'm going to skip that one, and I'm going to skip that one, and that one. How about LSU and Ole Miss? Both are 3-1. The Rebels were very disappointing. They were on the road to Alabama. 2.5-point favorite, the Tigers. If LSU wins, they will win by more than that margin. I'm just not positive they're going to win. Tigers have been a little iffy. Ole Miss is, they're due for a bounce back game. Is Lane Kiffin going to Are the Rebels going to have two bad offensive games in a row? Yeesh. Go with Ole Miss, but I'm not very confident. Oregon Ducks, Stanford Ducks by a mile. They're 27-point favorites. They will cover unless they forget to show up. Iowa State and Oklahoma. Oklahoma had a tougher time than you would have thought versus the Bearcats. And Cincinnati, they're 4-0. They're 19.5-point favorites over the Cyclones of Iowa State. Iowa State lost to a really fairly bad Iowa team. I think Iowa State lost to Miami of Ohio. So take the Sooners and to cover easily. That I think they'll run away with that game. Yeah, they'll win by more than 19.5 for sure. Let's see. Who is next for me to dissect? Notre Dame. Saturday night versus the Duke Blue Devils. The Duke Blue Devils are 4-0. They've looked really good. I believe this game I believe it's on the road. I believe it's at Duke. Notre Dame is 5.5-point favorites. No way. Notre Dame 4-1. I mean, if Sam Hartman gets let loose like he wasn't versus Ohio State, I would go with Notre Dame. The Duke Blue Devil coach is very good. What he's done over the last 2 years is nothing short of spectacular. I'm not rooting for Duke to win because that would lessen the quality of the Ohio State victory. But if it's at Duke, and I'm assuming it is, I got to go with the Blue Devils. Minimally to not lose by 6 or more. But I think they may actually win outright. Not that I'm rooting for it. Tennessee, South Carolina. Tennessee, 11.5-point favorites over the Gamecocks, who actually played Georgia pretty good. I'm going to go with the Volunteers. I don't trust Joe Milton. Every once in a while, he has a good game. There's a reason he left Michigan. He wasn't. If you're not good enough to play there, you're probably not a next level quarterback. Like Cade McNamara has gone from Michigan to Iowa, has not been stellar, but that probably has more to do with Brian Ferentz than it does McNamara. Plus, he's been hurt a little bit. So, but anyway, go with Tennessee on that one. Michigan State, Iowa. Speaking of the Ferentzes, Hawkeyes are 10.5-point favorites over Michigan State. Iowa's 3-1. They lost 31-0. Michigan State is horrible. Mel Tucker has been officially fired. Would this be a bounce back game for Sparty? Gosh, I just don't trust Iowa to beat anybody by 10.5 points. I think the Spartans are going to rally around their interim coach. I believe Iowa wins, but I don't believe they cover. They just don't score enough. Okay, we'll skip that one. Pitt and Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech has been terrible. Pittsburgh is 1-3 too. The Panthers are actually 2.5-point favorites. I would take the Panthers. The Hokies have been bad. The Mountaineers and the Horned Frogs. This should be a good one. Both teams are 3-1. The Horned Frogs haven't lost since the opening game versus Colorado. Horned Frogs are 13.5-point favorites over the Mountaineers. I would take the Mountaineers to cover, maybe even win, but the cover, yes. Appalachian State, University of Louisiana, Monroe, take the Mountaineers. They're 13.5-point favorites. They should win by more than 2 touchdowns. We'll skip that one. Alabama Crimson Tide versus the Mississippi State Bulldogs. 3-1 versus 2-2. Alabama's 14.5-point favorites. Go with Alabama. Of course, it would not bother me or surprise me to see Mississippi State be a little closer there. But, I like this quarterback that they're playing. I didn't think he was that bad when Alabama lost to Texas. Alabama wins and covers, win by 15 or more. But, again, if they lose, yay. Washington, the hottest team in the country, the team that I would put at number one if I had a vote. But I don't. Love Michael Penix. Loved him when he was at Indiana. Huskies are 4-0. Arizona's actually 3-1. Washington is a 18.5 point favorite. Is Washington due for a letdown? They haven't had one yet. I doubt it. Go with the Huskies over the Wildcats. And the very last game on here is Fresno State, one of my favorite teams, and Nevada, where my son has his diploma from. This is probably the worst game of the week. Fresno State 4-0, Nevada 0-4. Fresno State is favored by 24.5. They win by that much and more. And those are my picks. Okay. Again, thank you for saying prayers for my brother Dennis. And the next time I'll be with you probably will be Monday. I guess maybe Monday we could do, or maybe Sunday night we'll do a recap of what happened over the weekend. I'll tell you, give you my top 10. I'll rank the Big Ten teams and give you my rankings on at least the top 10 on the national scene. None of that matters too much right now, to be honest with you. Wisconsin and Ohio State, of course, have the weekend off. That's a look at my picks for entertainment purposes only. Hey, I had a first great week. It's been a little iffy since then. So, again, entertainment purposes only. Do not go by what I say. All right? My wife doesn't listen to me. You shouldn't listen to me. This is the Brother Buckeye broadcast and the BBB Audio Network. Until next time, go Bucks.